Okay, welcome to this video about Weberian views of age inequality, 40 marks, G674, and we've looked at, this is part two, we looked at Weberian views overall, structural conflict views, age is socially constructed, we looked at the social class issues with age, groups, youth, middle-aged, old. Now we look at status. We say one of the strengths with the Weberian view is it can be seen as multi-dimensional. Because it looks at various factors, not just economic factors, but also social and cultural factors. So then we look at status, which is more than just economic. It goes beyond economic factors. So how does status relate to age? Can someone explain?
Different statuses are perceived differently by society, such as a youth are shown as being marginalized due to them perceived as being criminal. For example, hoodies.
Stereotypes play, yeah, they get marginalized.
Okay, yeah, those are good ideas. It sounds like interactionism, so to make it more like Weberianism as well. Those are good ideas though, but we could refer to a Weberian concept like social closure, and we could refer to that because that's how they're marginalised, how young people are marginalised through social closure according to Weberians. Weber was interested in subjective meanings and how people interpret the world around them. He was interested in achieving Verstehen, so he would be interested in how these groups are portrayed and how they see themselves. What does social closure mean?
Isn't it similar to marginalization? Just close up from society, or like
it creates that effect.
They're not given the same opportunities.
Not given the same opportunities, yes. So it's to do with employment and recruitment. It's basically saying that in terms of access to a group, that some groups will maintain their status and their position and power by restricting access to membership of social groups. For example, middle-aged barristers require that young lawyers take a bar exam to become lawyers, to gain access to their profession. So they're maintaining their professional status as barristers. So this relates to market position, but it also relates to status in terms of age, because it's to do with the culture and the view of age groups. So we tend to assume that young people, for example, might be more deviant, and so that it's important to restrict access to certain professions until people are at the right age or they've demonstrated they're behaving in the right way. What about middle-aged people, their status, and older people?
older people are seen as vulnerable and helpless state, depending on people's management. I mean, that's new, right?
The new one, yeah. So the older seen as vulnerable, and we could say that the Weberians would argue this also affects membership of social groups and how much power and influence you have. In reality, older people as part of these professional groups might be
the new old.
the new old.
Don't go away on holiday, etc.
They can go away on holidays.
Like capital.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe we could bring that in with postmodernists to evaluate that. Okay. Yeah, we could bring that in with postmodernists and reserve our new labour for Marxists. So we've got this idea that professions, older people can have more power, they're relatively privileged compared to other groups. The middle-aged are probably the most powerful And older people start to lose status because we're very work focused in our contemporary society. So a lot of it is to do with work and the market. Because of our obsession with work and our consumption and our position in the marketplace, older people are less economically active, and so they lose status because they're old. Okay. Let's look at party, and then we can look at the evaluation. So, political influence, what can we say about that? For young, middle-aged and old. But young people.
Youth parliaments.
Youth parliaments. Why was the youth parliament designed? Was it designed because young people are very...
To limit social closure, because that was seen as a problem in the past.
Good, okay. So if you're trying to reduce or limit social closure, which was seen as a problem in the past, young people, particularly from certain backgrounds, would have limited access to the system of power. That's a good point. So there was a problem where people were seen as lacking interest in politics and they didn't have influence over the democratic system. So youth parliament is an example of a social policy that was introduced to try to limit the problem of social closure where the young had restricted access to power. What about middle age? Middle-aged groups? Are they powerful or powerless?
They're powerful.
They're generally more powerful.
Because they've got the experience and they've built up all the contacts that they need.
Right, so they've got experience and they've got contacts. So in terms of their access to power, they're probably the most powerful group because they've built up their experience and their contacts over a long period of working life in the marketplace. They're probably at the top of their profession in some cases, middle-aged people. And so they're at the kind of peak of their level of power.
Their peak is 40 to 49. So that'll fall into middle age.
So 40 to 49-year-olds are the most powerful.
They earn the most.
They're the top owners.
Well, it's the peak age of earning for men anyway. For women, it's 30 to 39.
30 to 39.
So males 40 to 49 is the peak earning age. 30 to 39 is the peak earning age for women. Good.
So Robert Bryan, this whole body for Weberians, we're going to no evaluation in this first.
Well, we can do, but as long as we have
afterwards.
Better to do afterwards. Isn't it?
it's up to you. I personally would make sure that I've given adequate explanation. I'll basically finish now and then I will start the evaluation. As long as I do enough evaluation.
Is this enough for just the Weberian side to it? No?
Yeah, I think it's enough. We could do with some studies. So if we can add any studies in there, that would be good. Which we haven't added yet. So have a think if there's any...
Parking, negatively privileged status groups. Could see the old as negatively privileged.
So the old and the young could be negatively privileged status groups. So we're given less opportunities, less life chances at that stage. And that's parking.